If you are insincere, then you will endeavor for some time with enthusiasm, and if you do not achieve the result that you expect, you will give up. But if you are actually sincere, then Krishna within the heart will guide you, give you faith, and give you strength. So the real question is, are we sincere? It is said that if you do not feel enthusiastic, you act enthusiastic. This is not making a show. If you are doing it to make a show, that means you are insincere. And that show bottle devotion will not endure. Some people want to make everyone else think that they are very advanced spiritually, that they are very great welfare workers in God's service. So they make a show of being very enthusiastic for their own prestige. That is insincerity. What happens is gradually, when the prestige is not there, when the adoration is not there, then they lose all their enthusiasm. Because they're not motivated to please God, they're motivated to please their own senses. But a sincere soul, he's not trying to make a show. His enthusiasm is simply an act of humble service. It is my service to be enthusiastic, whether I feel like it or not, for the pleasure of Guru, for the pleasure of the sadhus, and for the pleasure of Krishna. And therefore, whether it takes 1 day, 1 year, 50 years, or many lifetimes, it doesn't matter. It is my service to please the Lord. There is a story in Chaitanya Charitamrita about one devotee named Kamalakanta. And he was associating with very, very offensive people. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that he was intimately associating with offensive personalities, Lord Chaitanya was very angry with him. And he said that Kamalakanta is never allowed to come into my presence again. Now Lord Chaitanya, as we know, is the incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna. Kamalakanta, who is a very sincere devotee, he was feeling very bad. That now what is the use of my existence? What to speak of this life? But my entire existence is worthless if I can never come into the presence of the Lord again. So he was feeling very sad. So some of the devotees, they saw how sad he was feeling. So they approached Lord Chaitanya. You know, the devotees of the Lord are sometimes more kind than the Lord himself. Actually, the devotee's kindness is the Lord's kindness. But the Lord, his leela is, he acts more merciful through his devotees than he does personally. Just to glorify his devotees. Because he loves his devotees more than he loves himself. That is the natural quality of God's love. So the devotees approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, you know, Kamalakanta, he's very sad, he's your devotee, he's such a sincere soul, and now that you've cursed that he'll never see you again, he's feeling very bad. Isn't there some concession you can make? And Lord Chaitanya, in great anger, he said, because he is associating with persons who are offensive to the Supreme Lord, therefore I will not see him for millions of births. After millions of births, then he can come into my presence. So the devotees went outside and told Kamalakanta, we're sorry, but he said, you'll have to wait millions of births before you come into his presence. And Kamalakanta, when he heard that, he became so happy. He began to dance. He began to dance with his arms raised, chanting, Hari Bol, how lucky I am. I said, what? Why you were dancing? Why you were so happy? He said, all I have to do is wait millions of births and I get the great treasure of the darshan of the Supreme Lord. That's such a benediction. He was so enthusiastic. That is real enthusiasm. You have to both be enthusiastic and patient. Rupa Goswami explains these are the symptoms of surrender, that you are enthusiastic and patient simultaneously. If you have enthusiasm without patience, then you become like a businessman. Krishna, I'll work very hard for you, but you have to give me what I want by this date, otherwise the contract is void. If you don't make your payment on time, Krishna, then you have voided the contract, and then I have no more obligation to be your servant. A devotee does not do business with God. A devotee makes no conditions. That I'm suffering, Krishna. Why am I suffering? I've done so much for you. Why is it like this? It shouldn't be like this. You should be different. You should treat me the way I want to be treated, not the way you want to treat me. What is this? What kind of God are you? Why should I continue my service? Why should I chant Hare Krishna? Look, I still have problems. This is doing business with the Lord. A devotee is not a businessman. A devotee is a servant. The servant simply pleases the Lord and has complete faith that Krishna knows what's best for me. And he has complete faith that by simply serving the Lord with devotion, when Krishna sees it is the right time, when it is by his sweet will, he will reveal himself to me. He will deliver me from all the sufferings and miseries of material existence. If it takes 1 year or 2 years or 5 years or millions of lifetimes, I'm willing to go on with my service enthusiastically with faith and patience. That is patience. That is required. But if we are simply patient and we're not enthusiastic, then we're simply lazy. Spiritual life is not for a lazy person. Of course, in India, this is not very much understood. Generally, the laziest people consider this is the best occupation for a lazy man, to become a sadhu. Huh? All you have to do is lay around in the temples all day and just beg for some chapatis and have some people touch your feet and say, your blessings, God's blessings are upon you. And that's all you do all day. We have seen many such persons in our wanderings through the holy places of India. But actually, spiritual life is defined in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is impelling Arjuna not to be lazy, but to give all of his life's energy to fight for the sake of Krishna. And this is a real saintly person. He is willing to give all of his life's energies, exhaust everything he has for the betterment of mankind in the service of God. That is a saint, not someone who simply lays and sleeps and eats some chapatis. So we have to be patient, but at the same time, we have to work very hard with great enthusiasm in the service of the Lord. And if we are very enthusiastic, with patience, which is based on faith in the Word of God, faith in the mercy of God, then the combination of those two is surrender. And Krishna says in Gita, Sarva dharaman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishamimash. Abandon all your varieties of religion and just surrender with enthusiasm and patience. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Have faith.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami on devotionalnectar.com.